Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really delighted about today's guest, Nir Zavaro, and he is from Streetwise, based in Israel. And it's a sponsored episode, and I'm really happy to have him on to talk about pitching to win, speaking. Our audience are primarily doctors, high-income professionals, so he's going to talk to us about public speaking and his particular slant. So, Nir, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I went with this concept of the business storyteller for the last few years, and helping people pitch better is only one aspect of how do we create a good story. What is a brand? What's the brand character, and so on. I'd love to take it into a more of a niche, if that's okay with you, into the stuff you guys are actually interested in.
Yeah. And so how did you get here? Start from the beginning.
I started by selling snowboards in the desert, man. I love selling stuff. I was young, finished the army service, went traveling, fell in love with snowboard in New Zealand, came back to Israel and started selling snowboards in a shop and flip-flops and shorts. It's 30 degrees. I have no idea what that calibrates in Fahrenheit, but it's summer and it's hot, and I loved it. I enjoyed meeting people, telling them stories, talking to them about how the board would feel when they're in France on a mountain. Mind you, we're in an air-conditioned room in flip-flops. And that's how I started. I was lucky enough to do branding, management, marketing, a CMO, studying different companies. I've owned 4 bars. I've taught marketing and branding in universities and colleges for over a decade. Streetwise is my marketing agency, and it's been around for 14 years. And I've been lucky enough to travel the world and teach people how to become better storytellers. And Fuck the Slides was the 3rd book. Lucky for me, it became a bestseller on the first day. And I'm one of those lucky bastards doing what they love.
Interesting. Yeah, I really love that story. And we'll take it to the next levels because, again, our audience are the high-income professionals. And how do you help high-income professionals, the ones that come to you? What are they seeking answers to, or problems or frustrations that they want to get help with?
Every brand, doesn't matter who they are, and I've worked with Microsoft, Unilever, and 10 billion valued companies, to the smallest businesses, have the same problem with understanding how to tell a good story. And the reason is because we have, in the last 25 years, broken everything into too many pieces. We use branding for too many things, and then we end up with a nice logo that doesn't mean a single thing. We don't have a clear language. So the core values could be, you and I could agree that we want to be professional in what we do, correct? But that's not the core value. Have you ever met a company or a physician who says, I'm not professional? No, so that's not the core value. It's a basic statement that anyone can make. We forgot to understand that the currency you and I trade is an emotion. First and foremost, the currency we trade is emotions. It is not the data. And the interesting thing is, when we lost sight of all of this, we went with branding, messaging, marketing, sales. There's so many different things. In the end, it's not. A customer hears about us, wants to learn about us, thinks about buying, they buy, and then we might get the chance to see them again. The classic thing we teach is the AIDA model: awareness, interest, desire, acquire. And then I add the R for retention. So when people come and I ask them very simple questions, in one sentence, what do you do? Who do you serve? Who are your clients? What do we want to achieve? By the way, are the clients buying from you? Are the clients you should talk to? And I'll give an example. Podcasting is amazing. I go on podcasts and talk to different audiences. They become my followers, right? They enjoy the content, they use it, they learn it. They do not necessarily have the budget, the means, or even the scale of clients I work with, right? So basically, there are 2 separate entities: the ideal clients and the clients that I want to talk to. They're the 1,000 true fans. If they keep buying, that's one thing. If they keep following, another thing. So we focus a lot, for example, on a customer journey. When was the last time, for example, you sat down and wrote the emotions next to the customer journey that you want your clients to go through? Have you ever done it?
Yeah, I've done it because I know exactly
And
my
so,
clients.
exactly. So let's say that if a client comes in, we know where they come from, right? Top of the funnel and so on. We make sure that we say the right thing at the right time to create the right emotion on the other side. Make sense?
Yeah. And what's interesting is, so, again, you wrote the book. Again, YouTube or Spotify might censor this, but it's called F the Slides, and creating a winning pitch using storytelling techniques. And you talk about it's not just a soft skill, it's a must skill. And earlier on in the back room, you were saying a lot of high income professionals, they don't know how to tell their story, and they just don't know how to engage an audience. So when they're out of luck, or they just fed up with their career, they don't know what to. So how do they begin creating winning pitches and getting an audience using storytelling techniques?
It's very simple, my friend. You need to write down. We need to write in order to become intentional. Oftentimes, we sit in a meeting and we say something, and someone on the other side will say, "Of course, we thought about that." No, you didn't. Trust me, you didn't. If it's not written down, you didn't. Once we start writing, we commit to becoming better. It allows us to look at the words we've chosen. The things we want to commit to become the way we behave. So if you don't believe in something, and if you don't write it, or if it's just an idea, it disappears, it fades away. One of the key things I work with when people go on a pitch, I ask them to write it down. When we do a customer journey, I ask them to write the funnel, which is easy. Client saw us on, they came to the website, they left their details, they got an email. Sorry. And I say, great. What did you send in an email? Oh, welcome. Welcome could mean a million things, man. What are we saying? What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to understand? Are we creating excitement? Is this interesting? And I'll give you an example. I'm now working with someone on the other side of the world. They have a great product, very high end, very expensive. And there's a waiting list because they cannot deliver immediately. Once you buy, you need to wait between 3 and 4 months because they need to order the materials, manufacture everything, and they manufacture by hand. They need to ship it. It takes time. So when people reach out, what do they say? It will take 4 months. Potential client says, I'm out. But if I only tell you that there's 26 people and you need to apply now for the waiting list, if you want to get it in 4 months, trust me, more people will be willing to wait. So part of the story of writing is to understand what I want you to understand. So if we improvise, which sometimes is great, but if we keep improvising, we miss on a lot of opportunities. And it comes from the first initial contact we have with someone, a chance to create some sort of trust. There's a second step, for example, when we meet them. And you know this, when you want to tell someone what you do, people might go on a long rant, or it might be very vague or unclear when they talk about their business. You listen, and then you say, thanks, I'm out. I won't buy it. I'm not sure even what you do. I can't even recommend you to someone because I don't understand. So creating that message starts first and foremost with writing. Second thing is we need to start looking at the things we have. If you have a website, what's the hero section saying about you? You know that more than half of the people today go into a website and they don't even scroll. They see the hero section. If they don't get it, they're out.
Yeah, really interesting. And the first thing that listeners can take away from Nir is start writing and be intentional and know your customer avatar, your audience, and who you're serving. You mentioned next thing is which is better, because you're teaching clients how to basically pitch to win. And you mentioned websites. What's better to go your pitch? Is it a boardroom? Is it social media? Is it in front of a large audience, a newsletter? Should people be focusing their efforts?
We sell all the time to everyone throughout our life. That's what we do. When I want to convince my spouse to go on a vacation, I need to sell. When I want to make sure that you buy or you like what we do, we sell. Whether we are intentional or not, the way we communicate is a story that we want to get something out there. I want to
Yeah.
teach you something. I want to sell you something. Very simple. Now, once we understand that, the most important thing is to learn how to craft the pitch and then adapt it first for the audience. And secondly, where we're at. So when we do pitch the win, for example, if the slides is how to pitch when you want to raise money, there's a version for the discovery call on how we do the first initial sale. There's a pitch I'm now doing with one of the top 20 companies in the US. We're doing next month 3 days to teach their leadership team
Yeah.
how to improve the way they pitch within the company to get a budget, to explain the next steps, right? So different departments need different needs. They have different needs. If you understand that the audience and the surrounding is important, and you also need to be mindful of what you say and how long. So the whole concept is based on telling a short story, about 500 words, about 3 minutes. Why? Because it's short enough that I will understand. It's easy enough for you to write and practice when you need to pitch, right? But more than that, you don't need to sell when you pitch. Think about it as your trailer pitch. 3 minutes to make me want to know more. And if I didn't ask for more, I opt out.
Yeah. Next question I have for you is how long should a pitch be? Should it be 5 minutes? Should it be a 30 minutes? Talk about time length and
Yeah, so as I said, 3 minutes and you're good.
Yeah.
Remember, the longer the meeting goes, the chances of closing the deal go down.
yeah.
Because there's a higher chance of you saying the wrong thing.
Wow.
We need to control what we say. For example, when you pitch about the company, who you are, your service, 3 minutes is enough. If you have a discovery call, for example, with a potential client, I highly suggest to have the discovery call for 25 minutes. I'll tell you a secret, but don't tell anyone. Sometimes I teach my clients to add the agenda before the discovery call. And the trick is we add first 5 minutes small talk. Now you see how you smiled?
Yeah.
Almost every call where people go on the call, the first thing they say, by the way, I saw your agenda. It was really funny the way you say small talk. But every call has small talk for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The next thing would be to set up the stage where we say, hey, so if it's okay with you, the call is going to take approximately 30 minutes. I'll try and make it a bit shorter, maybe 2 or 3 minutes less. During the call, after we did the small talk, I'm going to ask you a few clarifying questions so I understand that we are the right fit. If I think it is okay, I will explain what we do. It will take me about 3 minutes. And after that, I'll be happy to answer your questions. If after that phase, we believe that we are the right fit, the next thing would be to set up the next call. I'll send you the details. We'll organize things. And maybe if it goes well, we can work together. Is that okay for you? No one would say no. Control the situation by creating the narrative.
Yeah.
The brain, and you know this, the brain is lazy. It doesn't want to work hard. And it wants to know what's going to happen because we don't like uncertainty.
Yeah. The other question I have for you is because I hear different perspectives, and one is don't memorize your presentation, use the slides as cues. But you wrote a recent blog post, how to memorize your presentation and complete guide to stress-free speaking. So what is your take on memorization and your pitch?
So if you go on stage, or let's say you need to sell something and this is the first meeting and you want to pitch your company, and sorry, but the screen, the projector, whatever it may be, isn't working. So now you're not only improvising, you're guessing, you have no idea what you need to say, how long it will take. But remember the most important thing, you're in the dark. If you haven't written down, you don't know how to control everything else, how your body behaves, your intonation, the speed. the emotion you want to convey. About 7%, we know this, about 7% of all communication is what we say. And the other 93% is the nonverbal, the way I behave, the way I sound, the speed of speaking, and so on. So basically, the 7%, and that's why I explain in the book, the 7% is only the backbone. So without that, we can't build on top of that. So I don't know when I need to smile, when I need to convey the message in a dramatic way. So you are improvising the wrong things. So when you come off stage and I ask you, hey, how did it go? You will say, yeah, I think it went well. And I'm teaching people to go from I think it went well to no, it went exactly as planned. Now, the slides need to support what you say. And remember, they're for them, not for you. So you came unprepared, said the wrong things, made me feel a bit weird. But the good thing is you were able to read the bullet points. Great, love you. Nobody cares. And if you want the great tip I give to every startup in the world, you probably get to do a lot of presentations. And I tell that to everyone. Please, no matter what happens, if you take one thing from this talk, don't have a thank you slide. Nobody fucking cares. And the reason is in most cases, that will be the most expensive real estate you have to iterate the message over and over to their subconscious, because it stays most of the time the longest.
Walk us through some client examples, people that worked with you and how you helped them and how they benefited.
Yeah, I think my favorite story, I think, is a great guy does a very complicated solution, biodegradable material for factories, okay, pharmaceutical, beauty, food. And they needed to pitch, but we only had a few days. I'm in Canada, they're in Singapore, and they have to pitch. But when they showed me what they created, the draft they had, I was like, maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe I don't remember. It was so complicated. And we simplified the message and we created a very short 30-second hook. And the repetition was key. And it's interesting. I don't know if you know this, but every year in factories, in order to clean the machines in between the processes, it's thousands of hours of downtime. The cleaning materials are highly expensive. They're not biodegradable, so they're not good for the earth. More than that, 200,000 people every year around the world will die from the cleaning materials. So what we know is that clean isn't really clean. And if I'll ask you to repeat, you will remember what I said. Clean isn't really clean. So it is important to remember we gave them a very good hook because people understand the problem. They understand what they're solving. And clean isn't really clean is something that they repeated 3 times. After they won the competition out of 50 companies competing, for the next 3 days in the conference, guess what? Everybody came up to them and said, you're the clean isn't really clean guy. So repetition is important in a 3-minute pitch to have it repeated 3 times. I once helped a guy go on Shark Tank and I told them, hey, all you need to remember is that you need to make them feel that what you're doing is big, that they're going to be part of something, and they're going to help a lot of people.
Wow.
We had 12 hours to prep the guy. So he wrote something. I saw it once and I said, I see these emotions. You'll be okay. By the way, the business still exists. It's been 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So remember that in various situations, you are able to create different things. I worked with Microsoft on the cybersecurity team, and we taught their salespeople why they are Luke Skywalker and they have the Force. And the reason is because they have over 150 different solutions for cybersecurity. But when a problem occurs, you and I, we have no idea what we need. We're panicking. So instead of telling them, oh, what do you need? We'll have it. We probably have that solution for you. It was, I will tell you what you need. I've got your back. Don't worry about it. Notice one thing, and everything I tell you, I do not change the product, how much they're charging, or if they need to raise. I do not change the team. I do not change the market. We go to the same thing from a different angle to tell a different story. And again, as we are talking about this, I want to remind people, if you want to scale your business, implementing these things goes to every aspect. The brand character of how you talk, how you behave, needs to be aligned in everything. Imagine that the brand character is in the center. And if you and I start a company tomorrow, the next time we have a question, it's not your opinion or mine. We ask the brand, are we in the right direction? Because if not, you and I will agree on certain things. And you'll say, you know what, Nir, you know what you're talking about. And so you write the story this way. And the next time I will say, you know what, I trust you. You do it. We will create inconsistency when we are in agreement. So imagine what happens when we're in a disagreement. The same elements of the story will go into your marketing. What is marketing? That megaphone that we pick up, we want to scream to the world. But when I do marketing, I'll ask the client, what should I scream? Help me. They do not know because they have a very well-designed logo. In your customer journey, look at your funnel. Make that journey, it's a journey, nicer, better, communicate better. Look at everything your brand is doing today and say, where are we creating uncertainty for the client and how can we resolve it? What can we better explain? And more than that, are we using the same stories, the same language? Everything is consistent throughout every touch point we have with that client. I worked with a very young guy building an amazing business, scaling very fast. And we went through the customer journey. We were able to raise prices by 10% twice in 8 weeks. We were able to double the business in 3 months. Double. All we changed was the customer journey, what we told people, how we made them feel.
Yeah, really interesting. If people wanted to connect with you and work with you to craft and refine and hone their pitch and work with either public speaking, presentations, how can they connect with you and contact you and find you?
Sure. I think the easiest way is ping me on LinkedIn. I'm always there. You can go to my website, nirzavaro.com. And I suggest for people who want to start practicing the idea of how to implement storytelling techniques, the easiest is there's the business storyteller guide that we've created. It's over 9,000 words on the website. It will take you a step-by-step guide. It's free. You don't need to leave an email. No, nothing. Go there and there's exercises.
Yeah.
And start implementing. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help.
Yeah. And also, where can people find a copy of your book, F the Slides, and if they wanted to check that out?
Yeah, so I think Amazon is the easiest. They do it the fastest. And the book is a step-by-step on how to create a winning pitch. Step-by-step, it solves everything up to what type of slides you will need. Because in most cases, companies, startups especially, still need to present something visual. So it will solve everything for you.
Yeah. And for all the audience, let's thank Nir for coming on and sponsoring this episode. And his links and show notes will be in the description, as well as the link to his book. And so for anybody wanting to hone and craft, refine their pitch, perfect their public speaking, Nir's the man. And thanks so much for coming on. I really enjoyed this talk.